win a Super Bowl, you got to draft players from Georgia. So,
I mean, ask the Philadelphia Bulldogs that. Georgia Eagles, whatever you want to call them.
Exactly. I'm glad I'm not the only one who calls them that.
Oh, I mean, that's all they've been doing is drafting Georgia players. It makes
No,
sense.
and that's what worked out for me last year. So played my first round of fantasy football.
Hmm.
I based my entire draft strategy off of players that I had heard of because
Hmm.
I'm not a big football guy, and players that I knew went to Georgia,
Hmm.
right? So I drafted in like the fourth and fifth round Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey and fucking rocked
Yeah.
my fantasy football draft. So I came in like second, not knowing shit about football. I don't think I watched a single game last year.
Oh my
And
God.
I still want, like, I watched a couple, like, that's exaggerating,
Yeah, yeah.
but I came in second, so I have no idea how I'm going to repeat this year, but I am
I mean, just run it back with the
actively.
same strategy, honestly.
No, I gotta do a new draft. So I gotta look
Yeah.
up players that I've heard of, and like I got lucky because I had Jamar Chase. I drafted him, and like I was weak at running back. I know that, but I got Cook out of Buffalo,
Mm. Okay.
and I was like, okay, yeah, this is a really good team.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. Any draft tips before my
Draft.
actual fantasy football draft that you can give me, I will gladly take. And if that was an offer to go to a Michigan game, I will absolutely go to a Michigan game. And just for you, I'll
Hmm.
wear Michigan colors. I'll wear
Well,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just for you.
Perfect. Well, hey, that was your fantasy corner update here on the Backmarkers F1 pod. I think we definitely should. Backmarkers F1 pod. I think we definitely should do like a quick like segment on fantasy football before like when we get to that time of year though,
Oh,
because
definitely.
that would be fun as hell. And I mean, we're Americans after all. We gotta talk about some
It it'll
football every
be
now and then.
it'll be incredibly fun because I'm not gonna know what's happening, but I'm
Hmm.
gonna talk as if I do, and
Oh,
that'll be
yeah.
just
It's
like the
like
normal
pick
podcast.
it's like picking your bracket like at March Madness time of year. Like it doesn't matter if you know ball or not, like shit happens. Well, this year it didn't happen. It was chalk as hell, but more often than not, anything can happen and it doesn't really know how much you know at that point in time. The amount of times that the best I've ever done in a March Madness bracket was like my first or second year doing it when I truly knew nothing about like college basketball and I finished like second or some ridiculous thing like that. And I'm like, they're like, how'd you pick that? I'm like, I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So fantasy football can sometimes be the same way, or you just pick Georgia Bulldogs, and that also is a really good strategy right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, the other one that works in March Madness, a friend tried this and won the competition that they
Hmm.
were having for their bracket. They picked based on where they would rather vacation, and it fucking worked, and everybody was stunned. But it was like, okay, that's a good strategy. So I kind of take that in consideration as my tiebreaker. If
Yeah.
there's not somebody that I've heard of or some kind of reason that I should pick the other team, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
would I rather go to Buffalo or Miami? Let me think about that one real quick.
Oh, I thought that was Miami, Florida, not Miami of Ohio.
Yep.
That's
Oh,
why.
dude. Fuck.
Is there fantasy F1? Is that a thing? I'd imagine it has to be a thing.
So like the app forever ago had some kind of game. I never understood how the fuck to
Hmm.
play it. I did not, to be clear, know what the rules were or what the objectives were. I
Hmm.
was just vibing. Um, it was enjoyable, but I could not tell you anything about how that worked or
Yeah.
what was supposed to happen.
Okay.
So maybe to
Okay.
answer your question,
I have an idea for us.
hit me with it.
So, since we don't know, let's make up our own rules.
It sounds like
Well,
a good plan.
let's do Do you want it to be team-based or driver-based? I feel like it has to be driver-based.
It's got to be driver based,
Okay.
right?
I think so too. Let's pick 3 drivers each weekend
Okay.
for our fantasy team. So it resets. So
Oh.
the only other forms of fantasy that I have ever done outside of football, which I've only mainly ever done football, was I did fantasy golf last year, and then I did fantasy NASCAR in college one time. And they both worked where you had like a certain allotment of picks for each
Mhm.
person, basically. So like in golf, you can only pick a golfer like 5 times in a whole season, and they play basically every weekend
Interesting.
from
Yeah.
end of beginning of March through end of September or something like that. So you couldn't pick Rory every single weekend, for example. You had to like pick and choose the races where you wanted them at. So what if we did like you can do and NASCAR was similar. You have to pick 3 drivers each weekend, and you have to pick a top tier, a middle tier, and then like a bottom tier driver. And then there'll be certain points allotted. We'll go like old school scoring. So we'll go 20-1 rather than 10, because if I'm forcing you to pick a bottom tier driver, obviously they're not going to score anything. So
Mhm.
you go 20-1 from victory to down to the last place, and then not finishing costs you 10 points, let's say.
Oof. Stiff penalty. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm down. Are
So
we
then
doing
allotment for
that?
drivers. Yeah, we'll start it for Canada. So
Okay.
we'll do that with our picks and with our Pontiac Grand Preview for Canada on our episode that'll drop on Friday. So how many times do you think we should be able to pick each driver? So we're 9 rounds in. So there's 10 through 25 left, right? So it's 15.
Hmm.
I want to say maybe like you can pick a driver 3 times.
That means we have to pick everybody pretty much.
That's kind of the
I
thought,
have
right?
no faith in Liam Lawson. I don't like this. I don't like this already.
Or you might be forced to take them.
um, yeah, I feel like we can figure it out. But
2, 3, 4,
I'm
5,
I'm down for
6,
it.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And let's see. How would we break up like top, middle, and bottom tiers? He doesn't count.
I
He's
feel
not
like it's
racing.
based on team
Yeah, but there's
points.
20 drivers or 10 teams. Like, how do you divide that into 3?
Mm,
I got it. All right, this is how we'll group it. Top 4 teams: McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull.
mhm.
Your next 3 tiers. Then this works out with the team constructor points too. Williams, Racing Bulls, Haas, and then Sauber, Aston Martin, Alpine for your bottom tier.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just 4 and 3 and 3. Okay.
Yeah, 4, 3, and 3. And then, yeah, we'll say from those groupings, you can pick each driver 3 times from each of those groupings, maybe? No, that wouldn't work because you're going to run into issues. 5 times each? 15
Yeah,
rounds left?
if there's 15 rounds left, that makes sense. That way,
Six,
yeah.
at least 6 drivers per grouping. So you wouldn't be forced to pick Liam Lawson when you have to, but you would probably have to pick him at some point in time.
This
So
just
five
chalk that one
times.
as a victory to you. Can we pick the same driver?
I was just thinking about that. What do you think? Like each week we do like a draft maybe, and we'll go based off of our picks, who gets to pick first in the next round.
We could do that. We also could we go team by team?
Hmm.
Because we could do round one is top tier, round two is second tier,
Yep.
round three is bottom tier, round four is bottom tier. Or how would we do this? Do we do it snake draft style, or how do we do this to avoid the person getting the choice of top tier driver every single time? Because
I
if
think
we
you
if
make
we
it.
pick it by team, then like if I pick Russell, you get Antonelli, or if you pick Max, I get Yuki. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Um,
I love that we're fleshing this out real time on
This
the
is
program.
really good podcasting.
This is the program. I honestly thought we were doing our Pontiac Grand Preview for Canada, so I'm glad that
we're gonna do that on we're gonna record that later and have that release on Friday. Closer to, we gotta do our picks. I'm not ready to make my picks yet. It's way too far out. We already do it too early, so
we do it too early. Okay, we just got to do it before qualifying. Did you hear that next year apparently Monaco is switched? So Indianapolis, the Indy 500, and Canada will be on the same day?
No. I don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all. So wait, when are they going to put Monaco? Are they going to put it where Canada is so they can take over Le Mans?
No, I think it's going to be a weekend before or a weekend after. I think it's going to be a weekend before, but I could be wrong about that. And it's like to help with logistics for the rest of the calendar, which like kind of makes sense, but also like kind of
doesn't. Because they're randomly going to Canada, and it would have to be the weekend after because Monaco would be like the start of the European leg, which is what they're now firmly in.
Yeah.
So it's making them get out of going to Canada and then or from going to Monaco to Canada and then back to Europe. They're trying to cut down on some of that stuff. I mean, they do have the net goals of carbon zero or net zero by 2030, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. So that's got to help because it's a lot less of that big international travel.
Yeah. I don't know. It still makes no sense to do. And if we're wrong about this, ladies and gentlemen,
are you going to say they can email us?
That's exactly what I'm going to say. Guess what else I'm going to say, Derek?
What?
The email is called backmarkersf1pod@gmail.com. Again, that's backmarkersf1pod@gmail.com. I'll give you one more guess about what else I'm going to say.
Okay. We have not gotten an email yet.
That is correct. We have not received a single email.
Nailed it. While we did not receive a single email, we got a little popular on the interwebs last week.
On purpose?
On purpose. We caused a little bit of a debate online. So, I just got a notification on our TikTok again. We got some more likes. That's even better. So, on the last episode, we had our rookie power rankings of sorts, where we initially started talking about Isack and Kimi, and is Isack part of that? Should he be on Alien Watch? And I don't know if you agreed with it, but I said that I think we put him on deck for Alien Watch at the moment. Yeah. So with that, I released our overall driver and team power rankings. I don't think I actually told you what it was exactly, but I'm going to run through the list with you real quick because it was fun.
Yeah, not going to remember any of this, but let's go. I hope I said something smart.
So top to bottom, and if you're watching this, I'm going to put the driver rankings up on the side of the screen so you can watch with us.
Ooh, editing.
We get some fancy stuff now. So at the top of the power rankings, I have the Alien, Max Verstappen, naturally. Underneath that, I have the GOAT, Lewis Hamilton. Then we have leading the championship is Oscar. Underneath that, I have titled it Fighting for the Podium was Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and George Russell. Feel like that's pretty fair. Mm-hmm. Scored points this week. It was Nico, Pierre, and Fernando because they scored points that week.
Fernando, they did it. Former Alien Fernando Alonso.
Yes. Maybe we can do. That'll be next week. If he doesn't score, it'll just be former Alien, and that'll always be the category that he falls into.
No. Yes. He's an alien that needs to go home. His finger needs to light up, and he needs to be carried by a small child in a
ET phone home.
in a basket on a bicycle.
Alien who needs to go home is gonna be Fernando, but I'm also gonna put ET's headshot next to him doing that.
Yeah. That's the way. ET and Aston Martin overalls.
Yes. So underneath that, I have want to score points at the next race, which was Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and then your Canadian cousin Lance Stroll, because he does want to score points at the next race. He'd also like to drive in the next race, but that's another.
We'll talk about that.
We'll get to that. Under Alien Watch, I have Kimi Antonelli, the young rook, and then under rookies, I have Isack, Ollie, Liam, and Bortoletto. Sorry, do forget about him because he's driving a Kick Sauber right now. Um, and then I have hoping team principal does not replace them. Yuki Tsunoda and Franco Colapinto.
Jeez, that's harsh.
So that
Yeah.
was my driver rankings. I liked my team power rankings, but that's not what caused the stir. So initially, that post alone got 8,500 views, which I thought was pretty good for us, seeming as we don't have a strong listener base at the moment. We haven't even gotten an email yet. But
We have one listener, maybe.
yes. So
Yeah.
from that though, we got over 400 likes, which I was proud of, and then we had 22 comments on it. And initially, like the first initial ones was kind of like, well, one, somebody said Max is definitely not an alien, which was hilarious. To which that had a comment of four-time champ driving a subpar F1 car to its absolute limit, still competing for a championship, and if he completes the comeback and wins down 46 or 49 points, what can they say about him then? And then someone agreed. The next part of that was someone was wondering why the hell this was
Why the
funny to
hell
me.
there was another podcast?
No, why the hell Max was ranked above Lewis, and then why is Lewis above Oscar? They're like, what does this mean? Like he's clearly hasn't done anything with Ferrari. I'm sorry, Lewis is the GOAT, and Max is an alien.
I
They
feel like a couple because like Matt Lewis is also maybe an alien because I love what you've done in terms of the rankings. I think this is a very well categorized, and I don't disagree with too much of it. I think alien, like the person maybe did not understand the subtext of saying alien from another planet, otherworldly skill, right? And I think in terms of categorizations for that, I think Max, Lewis, Fernando from back in the day, um, possibly Oscar, possibly Antonelli. I think Oscar needs to maybe be on Alien Watch.
Hmm. But he's currently leading the championship, so I can't.
This is it can be both of these things can be true.
We shall see what the new rankings provide. But the biggest tiff about this whole thing was why is Isaac Hadjar only listed as a rookie? Our commenters and viewers on our TikTok channel were very upset about this, saying, Hadjar is better than just rookies. They thought put Hadjar in Alien Watch. They also thought, oh, sorry, I forgot this comment. I love that Max is above Lewis and it's just not humanly possible. So kind of to your point. Um, but yeah, living for these Hadjar comments, he's better than Kimi. He's consistent and might actually be able to drive Max's car, unlike everyone else. We got a supporter there for the
All
second
right.
Red Bull seat.
Calm down with that. There, calm down with that. Maybe
Kimi
drink
is
some water.
Kimi is an alien watch and Hadjar isn't. Skull emoji. I think you need to flip those. Hadjar has been beating Kimi in a worse car. Putting Hadjar below Kimi is loco behavior. We had Hadjar as rookie of the year right now. Outside of Australia, he's done incredibly well with the V carb.
Absolutely.
So caused a little bit of a stir. Caused a little bit of some controversy in the Formula One world, which I was happy to do. I'm glad to do it. So
Keep shit
with
stirring,
that,
Derek.
and after seeing how upset some people were that Isaac might not have been getting the praise he deserved, I decided to put it to a vote. Who had the better rookie season? Kimi or Hadjar? Now I'm going to read you their head-to-heads from the stats that I
So
provided to
far,
everybody.
right? So far.
Who's had the better rookie season? That was the question. I didn't say so far, just who's had the better rookie season, which applies so far. So currently, Kimi sits P7 in the standings for the championship. Hadjar is P9. Kimi currently has 48 points to Hadjar's 21. Kimi's best finish is P4 in Australia. Hadjar's best finish is P6 in Monaco. Kimi has 2 DNFs and Hadjar has 1 DNS because he didn't get to start the actual race. And fuck a specific sportsbook for not paying me my money because I said he wouldn't be a classified finisher, and they said he didn't actually start, so he couldn't have been classified. That's some bullshit right there. Still not. Obviously, I'm not let that go. So, anyways, I put it to a vote. Who's had the better rookie season? What do you think people have said based on that?
I don't think they've said anything controversial, that's for sure. I think all the comments have been tame and polite.
Nah. Who do you think? Well, who do you think the viewers believe has had the better rookie season so far?
Probably Isack, just for controversy's sake.
I don't know if it's for controversy's sake or more so that they just think he has, because by golly, he has, according to our viewers. 59% of our voters said Isack has had the better rookie season than Kimi. Now,
Interesting.
with that, we did get 550 votes on this. So that was 324 to Isack, 226 to Kimi. And I'll read you some of the comments from
Decent
there.
sample size.
I feel like that's a pretty good sample size to draw from that. There is a big love for Isack Hadjar out there right now, more so than with Kimi Antonelli. And it's not that Kimi is bad. I think people are just more impressed by the fact that Isack is bringing a shit car to places that it probably shouldn't be going right now. Some of the viewers have said Hadjar is slightly behind in a car that's nowhere near Mercedes. I like Kimi, not hating, but Isack is doing better with what he has. This one was my favorite one, and I'm not here for this type of comment on our page right now. They both have had really good rookie seasons, and I don't think it's fair to compare them. Maybe if they have the exact same car, you could. I'm sorry,
That's
that's
too
horseshit.
reasonable. That's
We are
too rational.
here to have unreasonable and unrational conversations as fans of this sport. This is what we live for. This is our fun. This is our hobby. We need to make up random storylines about people we'll never be able to meet and have no influence over whatsoever and say, this person is better than that person, and this is why. And you stake your flag in the ground, just like I have staked mine in the Lando Norris camp this season, and I will stand on that hill until after the British Grand Prix if he is more than 20 points behind Oscar at that point in time. But until
You've
that
just got
point
your
in time,
caveats ready to go. I
I
love
am
it.
Team Lando. But anyways, Hadjar, back to the comments. Hadjar, because Kimi drives Mercedes, big difference. Kimi's DNFs were both due to mechanical issues, and he was the only rookie who didn't crash in Australia. That was a nice Kimi support there. Think both are at par. Hadjar is doing better in the car that is not designed to win. Mercedes is currently messing up Kimi's career. They're already messing up Kimi's career. 2 DNFs in 3 races. Now, there's a bold
Okay, an
take right
engine
there.
failure is bound to happen to anyone, but all right.
Also, Mercedes messing up a driver's career. There's a first take, I think.
Yeah, the Red Bull Young Driver Program would like a word.
I think they would. I think, Isack is currently sitting over there being like, are you sure about that? I'm kind of shaking my boots right now. He's now from Texas, by the way, if you didn't pick up on that.
We
And then our last comment, the one with the higher scores and 2 years younger, question mark, which did get a reply of one driving Mercedes and the other in a V Carb. So we had a pretty good contested debate there, I think, for a little bit, Isack or Kimi. And again, our viewers clearly think Isack is performing better than Kimi here, but I I still think Kimi is performing very well and has been more consistent over this time than Isack. Isack is very much on the upper trajectory. He had the rough start in Australia to his own fault though at that point in time. He was still figuring it out, but Kimi his best result was his first race of the season. So right away from the get-go, he's already qualified on pole too for the sprint race, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, for a sprint race. But like Kimi is very much out of this world and definitely is on alien watch. I still think Isack deserves to be on deck. Let's see what happens in Canada here, and maybe we can add him into that category. But at this point, Isack is very close to it. I just don't think he's gotten to that point just yet.
Yeah, and I think the hype and the fanfare about Kimi coming through and being put into the Mercedes seat, and also the fact that he's as young as he is. Like, bro invited his classmates from school to watch him in a race. Like, what a fucking show and tell event is that? Like, oh hey, here's my Formula One car that I drive on the weekends. Like kind of a big deal.
Right.
So I feel like that is kind of its own world, and that hype is its own machine of why he has kind of been in that conversation. Honestly, I feel like Hadjar is maybe not in this conversation as much between the two of us, because I don't think either of us knew shit about him. You know what I mean?
We knew he had some sick reflexes last year, but that was kind of about
Monaco
it.
Tunnel incident, exactly. Yeah. But in terms of the rest of the Red Bull program, the next guy that has the same level of hype that Kimi does is Arvin Lindblad, who's supposedly coming through, and they've petitioned for him to get a super license as well. So we'll see. Obviously, that's kind of my answer to just about everything it feels like. But
Very reasonable.
yeah, I think the rest of the season should tell us how good Isack is, and hopefully he finds his way out of that godforsaken Red Bull program, because I mean they don't treat anybody right, I don't think.
Well, to your point though on that, I think it was Christian or Helmut or both of them at this point in time have come out and said we are giving Yuki the rest of the year
Mm-hmm.
to, like we don't want him on this thin ice or this feeling right now for the rest of the year. Doesn't mean they're not going to make a change at the end of the year, but at least they're stating for the time, hey, no, we're going to stick with him for the rest of this season and let him try to figure it out and fight for that seat for the future here. So I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a change in Red Bull coming in terms of how they do treat their drivers, but also at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked still if they've made a switch at this point in the season still. But
Yeah,
see what
I
happens.
mean, I don't think we can tell because of the car situation. You know what I mean? Even Max
Mhm.
is struggling with it. He's gotten the most out of it, but he's also an
Yeah,
alien. So if we see some kind of development or some kind of update come down the pipeline, that might be one thing.
hmm
But until that car gets a little bit easier to drive and they can have two drivers consistently close to one another, um, that'll kind of determine what that's going to be.
yeah, definitely. But definitely a fun little storyline to continue to follow here for the rest of the season. The Isack versus Kimi for the Rookie of the Year. Because I know at the beginning of the year, I thought it was going to be Ali and Kimi who we'd be talking more about, and it's not that Ali's had a bad season. It's
It's that
just
he's
that
in a
he's
Haas.
he's in a
Yeah,
Haas, yeah. And we
yeah.
thought we'd get a little bit more out of them based on the start of their start to the year as well. So, but
Mhm.
no, very much props to Isack for starting the debate. But I'm sticking with Kimmy at the moment for my Rookie of the Year, and we'll see how things go. I'm not going to
I
stick a
love that
flag
you've
like I
already
did,
picked a.
but
I love that you've already picked a rookie of the year. Is that a flag that you're sticking right now, or
no, that's not a flag that I'm sticking right now. I'm saying like if you were to end the season right now, I would pick Kimmy at the moment still. Um, But Isack is definitely put, hey, on watch. Isack's on watch for Rookie
rookie of
of
the
the
year
Year.
watch? So that honestly will be an interesting, because I feel like we should definitely have some kind of end of season awards. I feel like that is the race to watch for rookie of the year between Isack and Kimmy.
Yes,
Is there
definitely.
anybody else that you think has an outside shot at that,
For Rookie
or
of the Year,
anybody? Yeah.
Jack doing? No.
Hell
Sorry, Jack.
yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
if I'm
Shout out
gonna put
Australia.
yeah, if I'm gonna put anybody else in there, I'd say Ollie would still be the only other driver I would consider at this point in time, but it's not really like something I'm really watching it. I
It's
think
looking
it's
like he's driving a Haas. Yeah.
yeah, it's looking like he's driving a Haas. He's starting to tail more to the camp of Bortoletto of I don't know. You're driving around. You're getting some experience this year. We'll
You
see what happens
you're
next year.
finishing the race. Good for you.
Right. But to his credit though, he's finishing the race, and sometimes it's like, hey, you're getting points still, which is awesome to see still. But
Yeah,
it's not as impressive as the results that Isack has produced as of late, which puts you in the Rookie of the Year debate. That's all.
definitely.
So shout out him. So yeah,
Shout out
plus a
to
little bit of a
TikTok.
shout out to TikTok, honestly. Yeah, that was fun to get a little debate going online. I love checking in over last week and over the weekend just to see what was going on and see what the fans were talking about there. Because
Keep
I'm
it
gonna call
going.
some of them fans at this point in time. Yeah,
Fans of
we're getting
F1,
there.
not of this program. To
Both,
be clear. Okay.
mainly F1,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was the
but Indy fans.
algorithm.
So we'll see what happens. Maybe we stir up some more debate following this episode. Tune in to find out. Um, but with that, I also wanted to get a little bit more into your Canadian cousin here and Lance Stroll. So
Yeah.
we didn't talk a bunch about it after the race. Because I don't know if the reports were coming out at that point in time, but there's been some rumors as to why he might have broken or re-injured his wrists again. Have you heard about these rumors? Not those ones.
Okay.
Or I didn't hear about those ones at least.
I don't know. Well, what I do know is that a broken wrist in MotoGP,
hmm
the motorcycle racing, is a
Yep.
pretty common occurrence, and there's this one doctor. You said he got his surgery in Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
There's a doctor in particular who specializes in this wrist reconstruction surgery. So
Mm-hmm.
apparently, it was a reactivation of the injury that he had a couple of years ago when he fell off the bike.
Yep.
And then came back in a really, really impressive fashion. But that impressive comeback might have been a little bit too premature and maybe done a little bit of damage, or it didn't heal right or something. But he has seen the best of the best. And obviously, we wish as a program, my Canadian cousin very well, and hope that he is thriving and happy and ready to compete at the highest level at his home race. But yeah, that's all I've heard of it. Do you have any other controversy or takes to add? Okay,
I
here we
don't know if it's
go.
about a take because I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this because there's been some debate about this. Crofty added some comments about BBC reports stating that he might have re-injured it after a little temper tantrum from the qualifying session. Might have thrown his helmet, might have punched a wall, might have been swearing at his teammates and members of the Aston Martin pit crew or something like that. Now I do want to make it say it that one of the team members,
Mechanics.
one of the
Yeah.
mechanics, yes, did come out and say, I didn't see that or hear any of that stuff. So, maybe it's being conflated a little or overinflated a little bit on some of what did happen, but maybe he did still throw his helmet or punch a wall, and maybe that is what could have caused a re-injury. I don't know. What I do know is when I first read about it, I immediately thought of Joel Zumaya playing Guitar Hero and hurting his wrist at that point in time. Like, just one of those things where it's like, you don't expect to do it, but it's like, shit, here we are.
Yeah.
But the thing where my mind went to that I thought would be kind of interesting if this was true, and this is a complete, just no idea, haven't heard anything about it. This is just something that came through my brain was, say he did do that, kind of like maybe they put him over into the hospital to be like, go get it checked out. It's been nagging you a little bit. Maybe he didn't really injure it there. Maybe the team was just kind of pissed at him, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you throwing a fit like this? You know what? You're not racing this weekend. That's
I don't know.
that's a little conspiracy in my head. That is definitely not true, but I don't know. Why not?
So my pushback on that is, by all accounts, Lance is a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've not heard people say anything about him. And obviously, media-wise, there's a little bit, and this is not me just defending my cousin here and there. But there is like I don't know. I think he gets a bad rap because of the situation that he's in, and the fact that, if his dad wasn't who he was, he might not be in the same position that he's in.
It's the double-edged
Um,
sword of his situation. He's
it's
given this opportunity to be here, but with that comes well, you don't deserve this because your dad bought a team.
and
But
and
he did deserve to be an F1
absolutely, and he's a podium finisher in that Williams. You know what I mean?
pole.
He got a pole position. He's a decent driver, and by all accounts, And honestly, I really, 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 really cannot stress this enough. I really, really, really want him to go race the Valkyrie. Fucking go win the Le Mans 24 hours. Fucking go do it. That would be awesome, and bring Aston Martin to the endurance glory that it deserves. Because I one of my life goals is to have an Aston Martin. I think they're the most beautiful vehicles ever made. Like, if that team was not unserious, I would be a colossal, obnoxious Aston Martin fan. But they're not serious. You know what I mean? So I think that he gets a bad rap. I think he's a better driver than people give him credit for, and by all accounts, a good human being. So and let's not overlook the fact that it's got to be tough to be missing your home race if that's the case, and that's what's going to happen. So and there's talk of Drugovich coming in and giving up his 24-hour at Le Mans seat in the Aston Martin to come over and fly and race in Canada.
Yep.
But it seems like Lance is going to kind of play things by ear and see how he feels and see how he's doing before that decision is made. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll know by our Pontiac Grand Preview. If not, then hey, it'll be another thing for us to be wrong about.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't believe that he is anything other than a good dude, and I don't want to slander him like that. You know?
Yeah. No, I get it. And maybe, and maybe if it wasn't like he truly like reactivated it to like a certain extent. Maybe it was like a take a weekend off, like your wrist has been bothering you, just like get it ready for Canada more so. Because maybe it could have been a lingering injury.
Yeah.
And this is part of what I was reading earlier from Aston Martin, their chief trackside officer.
Mm.
What a title, by the way, whose name is Mike Crack. What a name. So, he was saying, the plan is for Lance to still race Canada if he is ready, but his status is a little uncertain still. But maybe that is them just looking out for him. Like, you know what? Car hasn't been great this year. Qualifying was rough. Maybe he's been saying in the background, like, there's a lot of things wrong with the car. This is what needs to happen. Maybe it is a clean it up, get it ready, and try to get healthier for the rest of the season. Like, what are we really racing for right now, anyways? Maybe it is looking out for his best interest at the end of the day, too.
I think that because he had some sort of a procedure, it's not just a timeout. You know what I mean? I think
That's
there's
what I'm saying.
more
Like,
there.
it was
Yeah.
go get it done now
Yeah,
rather
yeah, yeah.
than keep fighting through it for whatever reason.
And that's like, I don't know, all the more reason that you kind of feel bad for the guy,
Mhm.
possibly missing your home race, possibly having, a serious injury or a serious surgery. Like that's gotta suck. No
Mhm.
matter how you cut it, you know what I mean? Like that would be like a Michigan player missing the Ohio State game. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like nobody wants to sit that game out.
Right.
Nobody wants to be on the sideline for something that means that much. Um, yeah, that's all I got about that. Hope he
Yeah.
gets better soon. Hope
Yeah, I
he's
hope we do see him race in Canada because yeah, it's your home race. You got to get involved in that. It definitely means more. The drivers we talked about last episode here, like it seems like they all want to show up and show out for that one out of any of the races on the calendar. So yeah, hopefully we do see him out there and maybe he can deliver a really fun performance, get some points here for the team this weekend. That'd be
definitely.
fun.
I believe in
Would
him.
would love to
I
see
believe in
that.
him.
So yeah. At this Grand Prix, though, it is going to be Haas's 200th Grand Prix. And in a continuation of special liveries, they have a special livery for this race weekend. I don't know if you saw it
Hmm.
at all,
No, I
but it
didn't.
is a throwback livery to their first season on the grid. So they're going back to more of like the gray, two-tone gray with red lettering and some white outlining on it. Doesn't look bad. It's
A
not their best
throwback.
livery ever, though.
A throwback to what is it? 5 years ago?
20. No, they've been
Wait,
on the grid
no,
longer
it would
than
have been
that.
2016.
16, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
they changed the
I'm
number. I
old.
like the
Fuck.
numbering on it, which is cool. Like the font of the numbers. It doesn't look bad. I've never thought Haas's liveries were bad. I have kind of liked them overall. Um, None of them have really wowed me a ton, but they've always been solid in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the best one that they had was the black and gold, but that was also
The rich
like,
energy.
I mean it was the John Player special that they
Yeah,
were
it
implementing.
was it
You know
was
what
the
I
John
mean? Like
Player.
that's a little bit more classic. This is not a bad looking car.
No.
I don't like it. It reminds me a little bit of the Chrome McLarens, which
Hmm.
is awesome, but not.
Hot take. I don't like that car. The Chrome McLaren. I don't get why it's so special. It just doesn't look that amazing to me.
And that's okay, Derek. You can be wrong.
I don't think I'm
I'll
that
let you be
wrong
wrong
though.
about it. You're wrong.
I think it's a little overrated. The Chrome McLaren is what Lewis's first championship, so it's like, is it good because of Lewis, or is it actually a good car? Is it a good looking car?
It wasn't just Lewis's first championship. I mean, they had it a little bit earlier than that, I
Okay.
think. No, I think it's a good looking car. I think you're wrong on that, and you can be
Mm-mm.
confidently wrong. That's okay with me.
It's it's just okay. Yeah. It's just okay. There's nothing that special about it. There really isn't. I don't get the hype behind that one. And you can say I'm wrong. That's fine. I have my opinions, and sometimes I'm right. And I think I'm right on this one. I think it's a little overrated.
Yeah, I got nothing for you
You got
other
nothing for me
than
there? All right,
like,
fair enough.
yeah, no.
But so yeah, Haas has the special livery for this weekend, and it's all right. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. They're
Yeah,
solid. Yeah,
looks. I mean, I think the special liveries are overdone, but I guess your 200 race is not insignificant. So good for
that
you.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
I
an
mean,
anniversary.
you
It
remember
is
your
it
anniversary?
actually is an anniversary. Yes, mine's actually coming up.
Congratulations, but
Thank you. You're like, I don't know, whatever.
fucking mirror, I don't know anything about that.
With that, want to stick to some American topics?
Fuck, I guess.
Cadillac has been in the news a little bit this last week here. With regards to, there's been some just more murmurings about like who their short list of drivers are for the upcoming season will be. I put another post out on that too, just asking like who do you think would be on there. I put some names out there. Looking at a list today though, just to recheck to see if there has been any more news. Some sources, and my main one that I always look at is F1's website. It
Mm,
looks like they've got it down to 4 as like main contenders here for a short list of drivers. Um, Sergio Perez, which we talked
mm,
about, Valtteri Bottas,
mm.
Joe Guan Yu, and Mick Schumacher.
All right.
So
Are we being serious?
that
Can
is
we be
exactly
serious
what the
for a
report.
second?
Multiple reports have said Schumacher is very much. Now this is the way I'm reading it. It sounds like the Schumacher camp is very much putting his name into the bucket a lot with some good support, which to be fair, he would bring support. It's not like he wouldn't have anything behind him.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, yeah, he had the massive crashes. They were epic. They were some epic crashes, but
Spectacular.
he raced for Haas. You know, like he spent some time with Toto Wolff. Maybe he's a little bit of a, maybe he's done some things to help his career advance to become a better driver. I
I
don't know.
think
I
he is
think if
racing at the mall this year.
he is racing,
He
yeah,
is.
for Alpine's WEC team. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what he's doing. But previously he was the reserve driver for Mercedes, and then
Hmm.
yeah, he's racing in WEC for Alpine at the moment. But I mean, I wouldn't hate that. I liked Mick Schumacher on Haas. He had shown signs of getting better, and I just think it was Haas couldn't afford a rookie driver more so than anything that they might not have really wanted to take in the first place. You know what I mean? Like that was they went a double rookie lineup, which is crazy for Haas to
Hmm.
do with Mazepin and then him. The first year he was masked by, well, he's not Nikita Mazepin, who's literally spinning every place he goes to. And then
Yeah.
the year after that, it's like he finally did get some chances to score some points. That car was terrible. It was the year after they just completely didn't do anything to the car from the year before.
Hmm.
They brought Magnussen back for that year. He had the epic 5th place in that first race and
And
then
that was
really didn't
it.
do anything else either outside of that. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't think he got a very much of a fair shake either for a rookie driver being in a shitty situation, basically.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. I mean, I'm a little bit more harsh with Mick than most.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know if that's even fair either. I feel like I just have a strong distaste for Haas because they don't really they're nothing special, you know. Um, and Zhou Guan Yu, good driver,
Mm-hmm.
you know, by all accounts, had a decent career through the junior categories. I don't know that he's necessarily bringing home the bacon. You know, I don't know that he's necessarily um, the best choice in terms of a seat. Obviously, he brings a little bit of cash with him. Also, not to be out of consideration, um, car sales in China
Mm-hmm.
is not a small deal. I know as a Lincoln guy,
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln is very, 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 very successful in China. And if it's one of those marketing ploys of
Mm.
having a home race or having a big driver, that is not something to
Overlook.
overlook. Thank you. That's not something to overlook either. That being said, if you're a serious outfit, like going back to Aston Martin, you got to put your best foot forward and make some kind of ruthless decisions. And I think having two guys that, by all accounts, underachieved, not really a recipe for success. If I'm in that seat, if I'm wearing the Cadillac Racing T-shirt, I am going for Valtteri. I'm offering him a shitload of money, and then I'm picking one of the IndyCar guys, saying, "All
Mm.
right, you got a super license. Get the fuck in there. Let's see what you can do. Let's go." You have a guy that has a proven track record of being with a successful team and helping develop a car for a world championship and competing for a world championship if that competition was maybe in name only,
Mm-hmm.
because this competition was Lewis fucking Hamilton. Um, but I think that, there's a definite recipe for success. And I think that some of those guys are maybe not it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the big reason why Zhou's even really heavily in the conversation is because Cadillac's team principal Graham Loudon was Zhou's like guy to get him into F1 and was his agent and all
Interesting.
this other stuff. So
Interesting.
like they have a very strong relationship together. So I didn't know that prior to reading about it. So
Hmm.
I it sounds like, he has to be in consideration because the team principal like he picked Joe to be like the guy to make the way through the ranks and get into it and everything like that. So will they go that way? I don't know. The Valtteri situation is one that I think is interesting. His story, I was reading a little bit more on that too, is interesting from just like where last year finished out to him to where he is at now in his career. Perez has been the name that's like mainly been thrown around from the beginning. So I almost wonder like if you're Cadillac, do you go like the two veteran driver route rather than getting a young guy? Like, would you try for a Perez Bottas lineup? Would you want both the experience, your new team? Let's get both, let's get as much information back on these cars as possible, especially if their engine is being delayed for joining the grid because they're not doing that in 2026 now. Like, maybe you get as much information out of two seasoned winners on the circuit before you put out like a car you think are going to be really ready to compete with, and maybe then you get a young guy to come in afterwards when
Yeah,
one of
and
them
I,
is
I
ready to
think
retire.
yeah, and I think that's kind of the way that I would go. And I was kind of hedging with that, saying grab one of the IndyCar guys,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I think that crossover would be good for the sport of having an
Mm-hmm.
IndyCar driver in Formula One.
Yeah.
That being said, definitely go for experience over a rookie who is maybe going to put it in the wall and cost you money or
Right.
screw something up or something like that. I'm definitely in that camp of go for experience rather than um, risk. Take the
Yeah.
risk.
But if you are going to be a constructor on the grid, and if you're racing under Cadillac, it's not like money's going to be that much of an issue as like a Haas or a Racing Bulls or one of
Yeah,
those lower tier teams. Like
if
there,
they,
it seems like they're going in it with the idea of one, it's probably like just their marketing budget because we're in Formula One now. We're reaching a brand of people that we're trying to attract anyways.
mhm.
So if we do wreck a couple of cars, what difference does that really make at the end of the day there? But if you're serious about wanting to win and wanting to prepare as much as possible before you put your actual engine out there, then the senior thing does matter too. But if you want to go a little flashy, you go senior with one and pick the IndyCar guy in the other one. Andretti's still pretty big in the support and the sponsorship for this team. They had to remove his name, unfortunately, for him to get the team on the grid, but they're still very much the basis of this team, like, yeah, putting a Colton Herta or another Indy racer in there would make a lot of sense for what they want to do too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but I think that's fun. The other thing that I read on that was they're not rushing to sign a driver, but they would be it would be beneficial to have one signed before the end of the summer break for that car development aspect. So if I'm going to make a guess, I'm going to guess you're going to get a name before the break, which is the end of July, right? They get August off basically.
I'd have to take a look at it, but that sounds right.
That's usually when the
I know it's
Europeans
coming.
go on holiday is August. So I'm going to guess it's the end of July when they're going to want um, some sort of a name out there. And if I had to guess, it's going to be Perez or Bottas. That'd be
Yeah.
that's my
No,
claim there, which isn't that crazy of a claim, but
I feel like it's kind of an open secret that it's going to be one or both of those guys.
mhm.
But yeah, my camp would be in IndyCar. And no offense to Perez, I would pick Valtteri. Sorry.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think you'd get a good driver out of either of those two options.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so you're going to be good either way. But I want to dive more into Valtteri Bottas because um, I didn't realize how shafted he got at the end of last season. So by his account, he very much thought he was part of the Audi project through the end. Like it
Mhm.
felt like to him it was going to be who's going to be his pairing for the Audi project, not hey, you're
Yep.
going to be gone at the end of this year too. So he was saying when he got cut in November, he really didn't expect that to happen at all. So by the time that it was, well, what am I going to do next season? Everybody else had a seat essentially. He said that he had some talks with Red Bull, with Alpine on, a seat, but it was like we're kind of too late in the game now for this at this point in time and just kind of kick the can maybe to 2026. So he's mentioned that he's been interested in Cadillac. He's definitely had the talks about it. He thinks it's an exciting project, but still also potentially looking at Red Bull and Alpine for 2026 too, which would be very
Mhm.
interesting. Could you imagine Valtteri in a Red Bull?
I can't. I don't know. I don't. I worry for whoever is going to try and have success in that Red Bull second seat. But also, I can't positively say that it's going to be Max. I mean, we don't know what his exit clauses are
Mm-hmm.
in terms of if he's not in the championship or in a certain position in the championship at the end of the year or anything like that. The other thing is to revisit the shot that I called earlier. You know, he got his Nordschleife license.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And there was an interview that he did a while back that he basically said, "Yeah, I'm definitely on the back half of my F1 career. I'm not sticking around here forever."
Mm-hmm.
So I would not be shocked if he finds a new path outside of F1 and is not a full-time F1 driver. Again, the shot that I called was that if he's not the championship, he hangs up his boots and goes into a different category.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would not be surprised if Red Bull has to look for his replacement sooner rather than later. Whether that's due to him retiring or going to the team that's offering him a boatload of money or
Mm-hmm.
whoever is best in the championship or whatever. I don't think that team is going to be the back at the highs that it was, so to speak.
I see.
And if Valtteri goes to Alpine, God help him.
Well, we shall see. Do you think Pierre's just gonna be stuck at Alpine for the rest of his career?
Hope not. I really hope not, man. Like, because
Yeah.
and we talked about it a little bit. With Flavio coming back, what's the game plan for Alpine? Are they going
Mm-hmm.
to try and sell to somebody, or what does that future hold? I have no confidence in the management of that team. I have no confidence in the uh, project as it currently exists, and I think it would be better for the sport if it were getting sold.
Could that become Porsche? Do you think Porsche would be interested in trying to get back into it?
I don't know because they had talks with Red Bull as an engine supplier, right? And then Audi coming in, that's the Volkswagen Auto Group.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more money they necessarily want to commit to the program. So it would be awesome to see, but also take it with a grain of salt until something happens and you see a contract signed. So
definitely,
I would be if we were betting on manufacturers, I would put more money on Toyota than Porsche to be the next manufacturer necessarily to enter.
Yeah.
And then obviously, we all are familiar with the history, or I don't know. Are you familiar with the history of Honda going in and out, and then in and out, and then in and out, and then out again?
I mean, roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So
I know they did that.
Yeah, they did that
just
a couple
they
times.
couldn't decide what they wanted to do.
Yeah. So they were around and pulled out of the sport in 2008, which is why Ross Braun was able to buy the former team for $1, and then go on and fuck around and win everything, which is a shame for Honda. You know what I mean? And then the McLaren Honda days obviously had their heyday back in the day, but then in 2015 were absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I would love to see Honda in the sport full time. Don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah. But Acura
is Honda's luxury brand.
Right.
So it would technically be the same thing.
Right, but maybe they.
I mean, like in terms of a nameplate.
Right, that's what I'm getting at more. So, if they put it under the Acura label,
it would go into the same bucket as Audi versus Porsche. It's still owned by the same people.
Same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that the Honda brand is too big for them to go with Acura. But Acura is in WEC, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, man. I could be wrong, but it would be the same thing. It would be the same people make a decision at the end of the day. So
yeah, fair enough. I had a couple other minor topics for us here. We haven't talked about the F1 movie at all. That comes out at the end of this month, by the way.
First time hearing it.
The movie, or that it's coming out this month?
That it's coming out this month. I can't pretend to have avoided the movie so far.
Fair enough. So are you even interested in seeing this thing then?
I mean, if somebody wants to go with me, sure.
Well, I'm definitely going to be watching it. I feel like we have to watch it.
I feel like we have to watch it. My whole thing is it's not Rush to me is the ultimate F1 movie. You know what I mean?
That one's solid, yeah.
But this is being directed by the guy that directed the Top Gun movie. So I know it's going to be. Anybody can be a producer. To be clear,
He's involved still,
but that means nothing. I will see it if somebody wants to see it, but also I'm not gonna be first in line. I'm not gonna be tweaking about it. I'm not gonna be. I feel compelled to see it because we host this program, and we'll need to talk about it for the purposes of having a talking point. But I'm not excited. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm going to necessarily hate watch this, but I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy watch this.
The more I've seen of it coming out, the more excited I am for it. Just because I think it's going to look
possible.
I think it's going to look awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what the storyline's going to be like, because in the one trailer they go, Brad Pitt's character, whatever his name is, they're like, he raced with Schumacher and Senna, and it's like, okay. Homeboy wouldn't be racing now, though. No team in their right mind would be bringing this guy on. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not trying. I'm not. I don't know. It's the same way that because it was directed by the Top Gun guy, I know it's going to be visually spectacular.
Exactly.
But also, Top Gun was overly militaristic and just kind of crazy in its shoving down your throat the glory of the American military in a way that I didn't necessarily appreciate.
So it was awesome, is what you're saying? Because that movie was awesome. That movie was awesome.
It was visually spectacular and also jingoistic patriotism.
Dude, both Top Guns are great. Top Gun Maverick was spectacular. I loved it.
it was a visually impressive movie that was objectively pretty cool, but like I didn't watch it for the plot. You know what I mean? Like it's like Pacific Rim, right? It was a fucking great movie if you want to see giant robots fight giant monsters, right? Anything other than that, I don't know how much I'm reading into it. I honestly could not tell you a plot point or a character or anything from that film, but I remember the giant robots fighting the giant monsters.
I don't even know what movie you're referring to. Pacific Rim, I don't think I ever saw it, so sorry.
It's your loss because it was actually pretty cool to see giant robots fight giant monsters. But
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, yeah, that's our F1 movie talk. I do think we'll have to go see it, so we'll figure out a time and we'll go do that, and then we'll talk about it on the show.
Yeah,
because why not?
Why not? Why not? Why?
It is also Le Mans week.
Yes. Are you hype?
Sure. I never cared about it until I can't even say until I still don't really care about it. I really don't. I'm excited that it's Le Mans week and like I've learned more about it, so I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it's one of those like I just can't get into it. I just can't. It's not gonna ever fully grab my attention the same way that other things will. There's not enough time in my life to devote that much attention to it. So hopefully Cadillac wins, and I don't know. We'll see what happens afterwards. I know it's a crown jewel. I get it. I know there's some history. I know it's epic.
Not even the history, man. It's fucking awesome. Like I cannot stress this enough. Like watch like that early morning, like when it's pitch black and they're flying down the fucking straightaway.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen the clips. It's crazy. It's epic.
It's amazing. But I don't know. I always tried to stay up late and watch the nighttime shift, basically in the morning. When
do they still run to the car and get in it? Is that still a thing or no?
I don't believe it's a thing anymore for safety reasons. But that used to be, and I think that was called the Le Mans Start, is what that was. If we're wrong, which first of all, no, we weren't. Send us an advertisement, or not an advertisement.
We'll take an advertisement too. We're still waiting on our chaperone to be emailed to us.
Dude, you better bleep that out because we didn't get an email from Papa. Backmarkers F1pod@gmail.com. Again, that is backmarkers F1pod@gmail.com. Yeah, no, I don't think they do that anymore, but like it's fucking incredible. And we were there at the Detroit Grand Prix. We saw some of the sports cars versus the hypercars.
Yeah, it was fun.
It wasn't even close. You know what I mean? Like those hypercars would go past and then you'd wait. And then the Mustang would come flying by.
Yeah.
You know? And the sports cars weren't driving slowly.
No.
But they weren't on the same level as the hypercars, but they were sharing the course at the same time. You know? So from that level of spectacle, everybody should watch Le Mans, just like everybody should watch clips of the Isle of Man TT. Did you hear anything about that, Derek?
I did not, unfortunately.
All right. Well, that's okay. Nobody's perfect. So they ran most of the races.
You live and you work it?
Except for the senior TT. Was that something I'm supposed to know?
It was a hold on, give me a second because I want to make sure I get it right. It was a Hannah Montana lyric. So the Isle of Man TT.
Yeah. So the Isle of Man TT. They did not run the senior TT, which is the biggest, most badass classification of bikes because of the weather, which everybody said was kind of the safest decision to make. But they did run pretty much everything else, including the sidecars. And I cannot stress this enough. Watch clips of the Isle of Man. Watch a replay. Watch whatever you can because that is some of the greatest racing in all of motor racing in motorsports. And you know it's crazy when MotoGP guys say, fuck that, I'm not doing that. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. yeah, shouts out to anybody who is racing in the Isle or raced in the Isle of Man over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you are a badass.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had was Ram is going to be entering the NASCAR Truck Series.
Cool. Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. That's all I got.
Cool.
I had nothing more on that topic, but I felt like it was worthy enough to mention something about it.
I said I was a Lincoln guy earlier in the program, and I definitely forgot that I had my Lincoln gear on.
Hey, look at
you can see that Lincoln logo.
Shining proud there.
Yeah, so kind of rocks. That's all I got. I've been thinking about that since I said that line. I was like, oh damn, I've been wearing the Lincoln socks all day, and I overlooked that. So I'm
hey,
sorry
you got
for
it
my
in.
shortcoming.
That's okay. You finished it. You showed the listener your true support, your true allegiances, and you got it out there. That's good.
That's what matters. Leader in comfort, baby.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I guess, is that their tagline?
No.
I guess I don't know what Lincoln's tagline is.
I probably should, but I'm not going to go off the dome here.
Fair enough. Well, maybe we'll have that for you the next show if we remember to look it up. But other than that, that's all I got for you here today. Anything else you want to cover?
No, thanks for another great episode of the Backmarkers F1 Pod.
It was great. We'll see you for our Canadian Grand Preview, Pontiac Grand Preview.
Yeah.
On Friday this week, and we'll see you until then.
Friday the 13th.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Which means it'll be Tuesday the 17th afterwards. Let's go.
Which means, what is Tuesday the 17th? Is that your anniversary?
No, that is a Psych reference. So any psychos out there, you'll get that. Psych is my favorite TV show of all time. And they did a parody of Friday the 13th, but their show came out on the USA Network on Tuesdays at that time. So it was Tuesday the 17th.
That's hilarious.
It was hilarious. It was great.
Derek, do you want to get tattoos?
No, not even a little bit.
You coward. Goddamn.
Body's a temple, except for the way I treat it with alcohol and food sometimes.
That's very honest of you. I like that.
All right. We'll see you next time.